PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, a game where 100 players are all pitted against each other in an ever-shrinking play zone, with only one player or team left standing. There are a lot of guns to help you with this task, but you can only carry one melee weapon, one pistol, and two larger guns at a time. In this guide, I'll be discussing the best in slot weapons for each of these categories. Which brings us to the first category, melee weapons. There are 4 melee weapons: the crowbar, machete, sickle, and of course the almighty pan. They are all equally worthless in how difficult it is to score a melee kill. Now that being said, the pan does do slightly more damage than the others, but it still won't even bring down a level 3 armored opponent in one hit. What does make the pan superior is its ability to block incoming rounds. For this reason, the pan will forever have a place on our butts and in our hearts. Next up, we have pistols. Now, ideally, you should only be using them early game against unarmed players, or as a last resort, as a means of self-defense. That being said, it means revolvers, with their low capacity and slow rate of fire, don't really meet the requirements as a good close quarters weapon. What we have left is the P92, the 1911, and the P18C. The P92 trades high damage for high capacity, while the 1911 trades high capacity for higher damage. However, the P18C stands out as the only pistol capable of fully automatic fire. This is ideal early game against unarmored players, allowing you to quickly end those close quarter engagements. For this reason, I would suggest taking the P18C over any of the other pistols. If you find an extended magazine, you can increase your bullet capacity from 17 to 25, making this gun a discount Uzi of sorts. Now we're getting into main weapon slots. One of the first guns you might use early game is a submachine gun. These guns shoot a lot of small caliber rounds very quickly, making them particularly lethal up close and in urban areas. There are 4 submachine guns you'll find, 2 in 9mm and 2 in 45. They will often be used in building fighting, so the faster it downs someone, the better. They can also be used in a pinch as a backup to your assault rifle in an intense firefight. 45 will inherently be better as it does more damage and scales better with the player's armor. The best SMG will largely be determined by how many enemies you expect to face at once. While the Vector excels at taking down one enemy at a time, it blows through its magazine too quickly to face multiple enemies. The Tommy gun, however, trades a little bit of fire rate for a much larger magazine, making it capable of taking on more than one opponent at a time. Now before moving on to assault rifles, I'll briefly touch on why you should stay away from shotguns. Shotguns are, by their very nature, inconsistent, meaning sometimes you'll down somebody in the first shot, while others they'll laugh it off as they shoot you to death. While a choke can remedy this slightly, it's highly recommended that you trade out your shotgun for any other gun, be it a pistol or an SMG. You'll get more consistency and a lot less disappointment. Here's where we get into the meat and potatoes of your loadout. Assault rifles. PUBG's assault rifles come in 2 different calibers, 7.62 and 5.56. We'll start with the only 7.62 rifle, the AKM, an improvement on the infamous AK-47. This gun hits harder than its 5.56 counterparts, and generally uses less attachments. It does well early game and in close quarters, but its intense recoil and slow bullet speed means hitting moving targets at even mid-range can be difficult. It also means that anytime you go against a similarly skilled opponent with any 5.56 gun, that you're going to be at a severe disadvantage, as they are going to hit you quicker and more frequently. Then we have the M16A4. In a way, it's sort of the AKM's 5.56 counterpart, as it's also limited by attachments. The M16A4 has the highest bullet speed of any of the assault rifles, meaning it's easier to hit moving targets at range. Unique to any of the other assault rifles, it lacks a full auto option, and instead is replaced by a 3-round burst. The 3-round burst is harder to control than the full auto options on the other 5.56 guns, leaving the M16A4 at a disadvantage in those mid to close range engagements. This gun is overall a very accurate weapon, particularly useful at hitting moving targets at range.
That guy.
Next up is the Scar L, another 5.56 rifle capable of both semi and fully automatic fire. Its full auto fire gives it an advantage over the M16A4 in close range, while still capable of tapping down opponents at longer ranges. Its recoil is manageable, and some people prefer it over the M416. It has a slower rate of fire than the M4, and since all 3 of these 5.56 rifles do the same damage, I can't help but feel like this rifle is just an inferior M416. The M416, one of the best rifles utilizing the AR-15 platform. It combines low, manageable recoil with a high rate of fire. Not only does this gun have an insane full auto range, but it can tap down opponents nearly as easily as the M16A4 can. It's widely known in the PUBG community that the M416 is the best world spawn assault rifle by far, and I have to strongly agree. No other rifle gives you the flexibility to handle every situation as well as the 416. What this means is that the M416 does every assault rifle's role better, but even most SMGs and DMR roles better. The only downside to the gun is it has very little aim punch, meaning opponents' aim isn't disrupted very much when they're hit by bullets fired from M4. The good news is that they die so quickly that this doesn't really even matter. I highly recommend the M416 as your primary gun for nearly every situation. Designated Marksman Rifles, or DMRs. These rifles are a mix between assault rifles and sniper rifles, meant to tackle longer ranges than your assault rifle while lacking the extremely high damage of the bolt-action sniper rifles. Your two world spawn options are the SKS and the Mini 14, the former being 7.62 and the latter 5.56. Unfortunately, the 5.56 rifles fill the long-range engagement role better. They can be good early game when you don't have an assault rifle yet. They also work well as a spot holder to clear your inventory of sniper rifle attachments until you can get a real sniper rifle. That being said, the Mini 14 is better than the SKS, as it has a higher bullet speed commonly found in the 5.56 weapons, making it much easier to hit targets, especially at long range. Sniper rifles. The most powerful rifles in PUBG. The ability to take someone down in one shot is so important that it's always worth carrying one of these if you can find it. It allows you to quickly take someone out that's preventing you from moving into the shrinking play zone, or it allows you to win a fight before it even starts. Obviously, the only world spawn rifle is the K98, but that one rifle is so powerful that it should always have a permanent seat in your secondary weapon slot, the same way that the pan has a permanent seat in your melee slot.